Hey, how's it going? We're now in episode 3 and still working on the Nether Hub. In the previous episodes, we built the portal room and the overworld, as well as this big room here, which will be like the central room or whatever portal room for the Nether Hub. So for today, we still have the outside left. We still have the lower sections left, which I started on last time, but I didn't really make too much progress. And as a little side note, this episode will also be the final episode where I use the footage that I had left over from whenever the 1.16 update came out. And I didn't really want to drag out this entire Nether Hub project too much, so there will be quite a few time skips. But yeah, let's just get into the episode. Alright, to start off, I decided to begin working on the outside of the hub first, and I'd already set up a general layout, but I did want to add an additional entrance room, so I began extending the area a bit more. Before starting on that though, here's a little segment of how two of my best villagers ended up in the Nether. In between episodes, I ended up dying during a late night resource gathering tour, and I had to replace some of my gear. So I went to the two purple towers to get some more mending books. The entire area by the towers was originally supposed to be one big trading area, but I never really came around to fully realize that plan, so that's a future project. Anyways, I set up the trading stations wrong and had to replace them somewhere else to restock their trades, but for some reason the villagers thought it'd be a great idea to just go and escape into the Nether, so that's why they currently chill on boats in the Nether, and eventually I will have to bring them back to the towers, but again, probably sometime in the future. Alright, now we can actually start on the outside bits of the Nether Hub, starting with a bit of work on the portal-like entrance from the outside. I just went with a very similar design to the inside, just to have a kind of smooth transition between the two rooms. And next up, I also had to extend the floor a bit more, to have enough space for that extra room I was going to build. And yeah, for that, let's just get into some sped up building. Okay, that should be enough space, so now it's time to create the layout for the room. Since this was supposed to be kind of like an entrance room, I decided to make it quite a bit smaller compared to the main room. And overall it was pretty straightforward, just create a layout for the room, work on the corners, eventually raise the walls, connect everything, and come up with a design for the ceiling. That's usually my general approach when building. And apart from that, I don't really know what else to say, so here's another quick building montage. And after a while, we ended up with this. Pretty happy with how it turned out, and once again, I left all the bits and gaps where I want to add color until sometime later. And apart from being some kind of entrance room, it doesn't really serve any greater purpose, but that's just kind of how most of my builds end up, with their scale kind of exceeding the build's functionality. But I don't know, I mainly build for the sake of creating things that look kind of nice or impressive anyways, rather than building more functional things like farms and stuff. And yeah, just more building. after having finished the majority of the portal, I realized that despite digging out a lot of netherrack while working on the main portal room, I was actually running low on netherrack, so I went on a little tour to get some more netherrack near that piglin bastion that I found. So here's a quick tour to get some netherrack. And yeah, after a while I ended up with around 3 shulker boxes full of netherrack, allowing me to finally work on terraforming the outside, starting with surrounding the main entrance gate thing with layers of netherrack. And after a bit more building, I made some decent progress on the outside. I finished the walls on the right side of the portal, adjusted the ceiling a bit to make it look a bit nicer, and also began to work on a set of stairs leading up from the cave that I was in. And to stick to the kind of vibes of having the main entrance underground in a kind of cave, I also began terraforming the area above the stairs, mainly covering it up with layers of netherrack, just try and make it look a bit more natural. So once again, time for more sped up building. Okay, after a bit of a time skip, I finished up the bit by the stairs and also made quite a lot of progress on the other side of the entrance. Now we got a path leading down and the entire area just looks a lot better now. And all that was left to do now was to finish up some of the parts around the path and fill in a couple holes and gaps here and there. And real quick before I start adding details around the outside, I had to go on a quick tour to get some more blackstone from the piglin bastion. So see you when I'm back. Alright, back at the Nether Hub, I started to work on a path that connects the main gate with the stairs on the right and left side. So I dug out some more netherrack and finished the layout for the path. And after another time skip, we now have the path filled in with basalt, going for the same style as the portal room in the normal world. And for the path leading down, I just went for some crimson wood planks. Now the main thing that was left to do was to actually add some color and more details around the entire area. So in order to give the area some color, I grabbed some bone meal and began turning the floor into crimson and warped netherrack. Again, going for a similar theme as the portal room in the overworld, and also I just really like both colors. Overall, I did this process in pretty much 3 stages. First, turning the floor into their like warped and crimson versions, then going back over it with more bone meal to add some little grass-like bits and mushrooms. And lastly, going around the entire area for pretty much a 3rd time to add trees and create like a small little forest around the entire area. So yeah, I guess it's time for another building montage. And yeah, after transforming the area outside and a small time skip, I also filled in all the gaps in the entrance room with the same color scheme as the main room. And for the outside, we pretty much now got a crimson and warped biome right outside the Nether Hub, which looks pretty nice. And in general, I think it looks a lot better than before. And the only thing I kind of want to change is to add something to the ceiling. But apart from maybe adding vines, I can't really think of anything to add that still goes with the same like vibe or theme of looking more or less naturally generated. So I'm probably just gonna leave it as like plain netherrack on the ceiling for now. Maybe I'll find something better in the future, but I don't know. I'll just leave it like this for now. So now that the outside is done, I guess it's time to continue working on the lower section of the Nether Hub. Since the last episode, I haven't really done anything to that lower section, so it's pretty much still the same as the second episode. But the plan was to have a smaller like central room underneath the main room that has like hallways branching off in each direction. One for kind of stable area for striders, one for like an ice highway system, and the last one I haven't really decided on yet, but maybe a storage room or a bartering station. I'm not really sure yet. And yeah, here's what the kind of finished central room for the lower area looks like. And over here is the area for the strider stables with a small pier and some other like smaller details just for aesthetics. And now to the last major part of the Nether Hub project, which is the area where I want to build a ice highway system with tracks leading off to the original world spawn and one leading out into unexplored chunks for future updates. And because the first lower floor was about on the same level as the lava, I tried to avoid having to deal with the lava by going underneath it, which didn't quite work out because when I began digging out the tunnels, I realized pretty early on that I was going straight into the bottom of a lava lake, which made digging out the tunnel far more difficult. When looking back at it, was probably the wrong decision. And yeah, after another time skip, I finished the main room or station for the ice highway, and with more time skip magic, also added some color to it. I also began working on a design for the tunnels that I wanted to have across the entire like 300 blocks long tunnel. Once again, adding even more stuff to work on just for the sake of having a good looking tunnel. But yeah, for an ice highway, I obviously need a lot of ice. So here's me going on a little voyage to search for an ice biome. So here we are. It took quite a while to find this place, but glad we finally found it. Anyways, I was mainly searching for blue and packed ice, just to have the best speed. And after around half an hour or so of mining ice and nearly drowning several times, I ended up with around 3 shulker boxes full of packed ice and a few stacks of blue ice, which was definitely enough to finish the ice tracks. Now let's just speed off back to the base. And back in the Nether, we got a quick progress update on the tunnel, going from general framework to having the color filled in and then the ice laid down. And with that, we are pretty much done with the majority of the Nether Hub. So here's a bit of a showcase of what I built during the Nether Hub project. The end of this kind of episode also marks the end of my 1.16 recordings from around a year ago. And as of editing this video, I finally began playing Minecraft again in the 1.17 update. So therefore next episode will finally be in 1.17 and I can finally make use of all the new content that they added. But anyways, I'm really happy with how the Nether Hub has turned out so far, and I'm really looking forward to doing stuff in 1.17. There's obviously still a couple things left to do in the Nether Hub, like the outside on the opposite side or like opposite end of the Nether Hub, but that's something I'll eventually come back to and just add to the list of unfinished projects I have yet to continue work on. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this episode. Subscribe or like if you feel like it, and yeah, hope you have a great day and see us.